I opened my bedroom door and there she was, my best friend in my lingerie in my bed with my boyfriend, bragging about how I was the perfect idiot to live off. For a moment, the world didn't move. Seattle rain tapped against the window, my suitcase handle dug into my palm, and the two people I trusted most froze like they'd been caught in a crime scene. Bria's hair was still damp from a shower she took in my bathroom. Luke's phone was unlocked beside my credit card on the nightstand. My black silk lingerie, something he gifted me for our anniversary, clung to her like it had never belonged to me. Bria whispered my name, but I didn't answer. I just stood there, cataloging every detail the way my UX designer brain always does. The half-eaten takeout on my dresser, 2 wine glasses, my Netflix account still open on the TV. Luke's shirt on the floor next to a receipt from a rooftop restaurant I had questioned him about last week, one that showed up on my credit card with a $98 charge. I didn't come home early because I suspected this. I came home because my work trip got canceled an hour after takeoff due to a mechanical issue. I grabbed the next flight back, thinking I'd surprise Luke with dinner and spend a quiet night at home. Instead, I stepped directly into a truth I'd only suspected in shadows. Luke sat up like he could spin this into something reasonable. "Maya, wait, this isn't what it looks like." But his voice trembled, and the tremble told the real story. Bria didn't even bother covering up. She crossed her arms and looked annoyed, not guilty. "You weren't supposed to be home," she muttered, like I'd broken into my own apartment without knocking. My apartment. My mortgage, my utilities. My everything. Luke reached for the blanket, pulling it over both of them like modesty mattered now. "Let us explain," he said. I didn't respond. Not yet. My mind was still sorting through the data points. My disappearing groceries, Bria suddenly too busy for girls' nights, Luke's late client dinners. The way my credit card statements kept climbing with unfamiliar charges labeled restaurants, ride shares, hotels. Then Bria rolled her eyes and murmured to Luke, "She's going to be dramatic. Just let her get it out." Dramatic. That word snapped something cold into place. I stepped inside, closed the door behind me, and set my suitcase down. "How long?" I asked. My voice sounded calm, too calm. Luke opened his mouth, but Bria cut in. "A few weeks." Luke flinched, and I caught it. "Try again," I said. Luke swallowed hard. 6 months." 6 months. Half a year of sleeping beside me every night, kissing me goodbye before work, calling me the love of his life. All while he was using my home as a secret hideaway for my best friend. My chest tightened, but I didn't fall apart. I'd already spent weeks, maybe months, falling apart quietly. This moment felt like stepping into clarity. Then Bria added the knife twist. "It's not that big of a deal, Maya. You're stable. Comfortable. You don't need the kind of passion we have." "Passion," Luke echoed, squeezing her hand like this was some kind of star-crossed confession. I stared at them. "And my credit card, the hotel charges, the restaurants, the Uber rides." Luke hesitated. Bria didn't. "Well, yeah," she said. "I mean, you make more money than us. It made sense." "And my work?" I asked slowly. "My presentations. My decks." Bria smirked like she'd been waiting for me to ask. "You weren't using them right. I just repackaged them. And it worked. I got promoted. You should be happy for me." Happy for her. For the woman in my lingerie, in my bed, stealing my boyfriend and my job. Luke leaned back like he was settling into a therapy session. "Maya, listen. You're great, okay? Really great. But you're too emotional. You overreact. And honestly," he glanced around my apartment, "you should be grateful I even stayed as long as I did." Grateful. For what? For paying every bill, for covering his share of groceries when he said he was saving for a house, for letting him, temporarily, live here for 9 months without paying rent. My throat felt like it was closing, but my mind had never been clearer. They thought this was the moment I'd break. They didn't know I had been preparing for this exact moment for 3 months. The late-night whispers I'd heard from the recording app I'd hidden in the living room. The screenshots I'd taken of Bria forwarding my slides to her personal email. The receipts I'd photographed showing Luke's client dinners were actually date nights. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to ask why. I didn't need to cry in front of them. All I said was, "Okay, I hear you." Bria frowned. "That's it." Luke looked confused. "Where are you going?" I picked up my suitcase, opened the door, and turned back to them one last time. "Home," I said, "and neither of you live there anymore." Then I closed the door with a quiet click, already planning the first step of their downfall. The locks, the passwords, the evidence, they had no idea what was coming. They thought I was the perfect idiot to live off. They were about to learn I was the perfect woman to underestimate. I didn't cry in the Uber. I didn't call anyone. I just sat there listening to the rain hit the windows while my mind shifted into a quiet, calculated mode I didn't know I had. By the time I reached my apartment building, that calm had hardened into purpose. The first thing I did was change the locks. Not tomorrow, not later, right then. The locksmith didn't ask questions. Seattle is full of people who don't want to explain why they suddenly need new keys. Next came the passwords: banking, Wi-Fi, streaming accounts, cloud storage. Every digital door they once walked through slammed shut. Then I opened the folder I'd been building for months. I created 3 subfolders: audio, screenshots, receipts. Everything was already organized. I had been waiting for the face behind the betrayal. Now it finally had 2 names. The audio folder was the worst. Clips of Luke laughing about how I acted like a landlord who doesn't know she's the tenant. Bria telling him that I was too insecure to question anything. Them planning dates, discussing restaurants, mocking my routines. The screenshots were even more damaging. Side-by-side comparisons of my original design decks and the polished versions Bria presented to our boss. Her Slack messages forwarding my files to her personal email. Her bragging that she could easily outperform Maya if she stole a little more. And the receipts, 37 charges totaling $4,812.49. Hotels, sushi, rooftop bars, ride shares from my address to places I'd never been. I packaged all of it into a clean, professional file labeled Ethics Concern Documentation attached. I didn't add emotion. I didn't add commentary. The evidence spoke for itself. At 2:14 a.m., I sent it to HR, my boss, and the department lead. Then I turned to Luke. I crafted a short email to his company's biggest client, one I'd met during a holiday party. I attached the audio of Luke mocking their entire team, calling them easy money, and bragging he could make them sign anything if they didn't read carefully. I didn't write anything accusatory, just a polite note. Thought you should be aware of this recording. That was enough. Next, I compiled a 2-minute audio montage of Luke and Bria laughing about using my money, my apartment, my kindness. I posted it anonymously through a burner social account with a simple caption. POV, when you weaponize someone's trust and forget they record everything. I didn't use names. I didn't need to. Their voices were unmistakable. By sunrise, my phone buzzed nonstop. Work emails, missed calls, message requests from people I barely knew. The ripple had begun. At noon, HR scheduled an urgent meeting with Bria. At 1:17 p.m., Luke's company left him a voicemail asking him to return his laptop immediately. By evening, both of them were calling me. Bria first, sobbing, Luke next, angry then desperate. I didn't answer either of them. Their unraveling had only just begun, and I still had one more move left. By the next morning, Seattle felt different, brighter, quieter, like the city itself knew something had shifted. I brewed coffee in my kitchen and watched my phone light up with the consequences they never imagined would reach them. At 9:03 a.m., a company-wide email announced that Bria had been terminated for plagiarism, misuse of proprietary materials, and ethical violations. I pictured her packing her desk while coworkers whispered, comparing her presentations to mine and realizing the truth. In our industry, reputation is everything. Word spreads fast. By noon, 3 agencies had already commented on a discreet HR LinkedIn post. She was professionally radioactive. Luke's downfall was faster. At 10:22 a.m., his key client replied to my message. They attached their own email demanding an immediate contract review and investigation. By lunchtime, Luke was escorted out of his office. No severance. No second chances. Underperformance is forgivable. Mocking your biggest client on audio is not. Around 2 p.m., his mother called me. I didn't answer, but she left a voicemail. her voice shaking as she apologized for him, saying she had no idea he'd been living off you like that. When she finally confronted him, he blamed me. She didn't believe him. She never called again. By evening, the anonymous audio clip had spread through our friend group. No names were mentioned, but everyone recognized their voices. Everyone recognized my apartment. The comments turned vicious. People unfollowed them, blocked them, deleted photos. Invitations to parties and group chats vanished. Neither of them realized how fragile popularity is until it snapped. And then came the final messages. Bria, Maya, please, I made a mistake. I need my job back. You know I didn't mean to hurt you. Luke, you're overreacting. You're ruining my life over something small. Just talk to me. A second message from Luke. Please. I don't have anywhere to go. He slept on a friend's couch that night. I didn't respond, not out of cruelty, out of clarity. I spent years giving them room in my home, my finances, my heart. The least I could give myself now was silence. As the rain softened outside, I sat on my couch, the same spot where they'd mocked me in those recordings, and opened my final folder. I deleted every audio clip, every screenshot, every receipt. Not because I needed to forget, because I no longer needed proof. The consequences were already written into their lives. I took a slow sip of my coffee, letting the warmth settle into me. For the first time in months, my apartment felt like mine again. Quiet, clean, whole. They thought I would fall apart without them. Instead, I watched karma finish what I quietly started.